Using Reality Ranker and find yourself wishing you knew which Housewives episode you were on when you demoted someone for saying something idiotic or getting arrested or walking the runway like, who am I kidding? I will always upvote Ramona for that runway walk. In this video, we're adding an episode tracker to Reality Ranker so that you always know not only what happened when you made a ranking change, but also exactly what episode you were watching when you did. I'm Anthony Wagner, an optimization and certified Notion expert, and this is QueerEfficiency, where I help fellow productivity and Bravo nerds solve tiny problems. Let's get started. Alrighty, this is the last in my Reality Ranker series. This is part 3, and today we're gonna add an episode tracker so that you can see exactly what episode you were on. It makes it very easy so you can hit one button to change the episode you're on, and it updates everywhere. And then all of your rankings will have the episodes tagged. It's very straightforward, and I'm looking forward to adding this today. If you'd like to download the base Reality Ranker from the first video or Reality Ranker Pro, which is everything from video 2 and then everything from video 3, you can. I'm gonna show you exactly how to build this, so if you'd prefer to build your own, you can. Just know that some of the automated things that we're gonna do rely on Notion's paid plan, so you need to have one of those. But if you get Reality Ranker Pro from me, you don't need that paid plan. So keep that in mind as you're deciding how you want to do it. But if you're looking to build, let's do that. Okay, so we need to add another new database. This one is going to be very small. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type / database. We'll do one inline. We're going to give it a name. We'll say Reality Ranker episode database. We're going to change this to show name. And this is where you can tell Reality Ranker what show. It doesn't really matter, but we just needed something in this property. And then we need 4 properties here, 2 for the actual numbers and 2 for the up arrows. So let's create those by adding a number. We'll call this season, and then we can just duplicate this and call this episode. And then for their icons, I do a sun for the season, and then I think I just did a TV, and then I just did a television for the episode. Okay, we're gonna drag these in all the way. We may even make them smaller, we'll see. And then just so we have some sample here, I'm gonna add Salt Lake City. This doesn't matter, you can put whatever here, it just needs to have something because this property is required. We'll drag this in, and then I'm gonna change the order to move that last. Now, we wanna be able to easily up the season and episode, so we're gonna add 2 buttons that allow us to go up, just like this. So we'll come to button. I'm gonna use my emoji picker on my computer to grab this up arrow, and I'll drag this in. And now I'm gonna use Alt on my keyboard to drag it in really tight because I don't need, well, I guess I can fix it so it's showing the whole thing there. Yeah, I don't need it to be quite so wide. And then we're gonna edit this automation and tell it to edit the property season. And we have to add a custom formula. This is similar like when we did the increment and decrement in the first video. We need to be able to add 1, not just set it to 1. So we're gonna choose custom formula, this page, season plus 1. Add a space there, it's not necessary, but it's just a little like twitchy for me not to, and save it. So now when I hit up, it'll change that to 1. I'm gonna undo it just so it's empty for the moment. Okay, so now we want one that edits the episode field. So we're gonna duplicate this, and we have to make a couple tweaks to the button. First of all, we need to get rid of this 1, but if we back it all out, it says that a property with that name already exists. So all I'm gonna do to get around that is just add a space. And that way it'll allow me to use that button just as is, but this way it thinks it's a different name, which is great. Now we have to edit the automation, and we don't want to edit the season, we want to edit the episode. And in this case, we can use a custom formula, this page, episode plus 1, just like the previous, and save, and save. And now we should be able to increment, perfect, the episode and season. To make these easy to spot which button is which, I'm gonna set the icons to match the icon for the corresponding number field. And then we'll just kind of drag these in so that they're a little tighter. And that's all we need to do for this database so that we can track which season and which episode. Okay, so now what we need to do is link this database to this one because all the values are on this database that then get copied. So we have to do things on all 3 databases, but the link will exist between the main database and the episode database. We're gonna do that with a property called a relation. And this is one of the few really rare use cases where you want a one-way relation. Typically, most relations you're gonna use are 2-way. For example, if you're building a customer relationship manager and you have companies and then contacts, so if you have Pat Smith who works at ABC Corp, you want to be able to see on Pat what company they work at, and you want to see at the company all the employees that are there. So it's a two-way relation. This case, we don't really care on the episode database, the cast members that are assigned, because they're all going to be assigned to that one record. So this is one of the rare use cases where we'll actually set up a one-way relation. Let's look at that. We're going to add a property on the main database, scroll down, choose relation, and we're going to relate it to the episode database. And you do not need to turn on two-way relation here. We'll leave no limit, leave this off, and hit add. Because all we have to do is see that here on the main database. We don't need it up here. So we need to link all of these cast members, because as you watch it, they all are going to be on the same episode simultaneously. We just need to link them all to that one property like that. And then this one is here. We don't want to have to do that every single time we create a new cast member. That would be annoying. So what we're going to do is edit the template and pre-fill that in the template. So it's automatically there. I'm going to do that for main cast as well as supporting cast. Fill that in on both. Great. So now that link exists and it will exist for everyone. What we don't need here, though, is to see the name that we put here. We can put anything here. It doesn't matter. You'll see if I change this to just gobbledygook, you'll see that it automatically updates all of the records at the same time, which is great. I just put the show name there because that's the thing that made sense and it needs a name. You could theoretically leave it blank and it would just say like new page or something like that. Yeah, exactly. We want to see the season and episode values down here. So we'll do that with what's called a rollup property. Now, again, we're doing this in a little bit of a funky way because this is a unique use case. A rollup property most commonly would be used to aggregate information or to sum information. For example, going back to our CRM, let's say we have a company database and then a payments database. And so we can see ABC Corp paid $10, $15, $20, whatever, had all these payments. We could relate them together and then we could have a roll-up to show the sum of all of those payments. Okay, that's fine, but we don't really need that in this case. We just need to see what season and what episode. So we're gonna add two roll-up properties. We'll call this one season, and we'll give it that same sun icon. Then we'll come and edit the roll-up. We wanna select the relation, there's only gonna be one. And then we're gonna select what property, we're gonna say season. And then typically we could just say show original. You'll see why in a minute. We're gonna do this funky thing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave it. I'll show you why in a minute. But ultimately, we need to choose a number option. Sum, average, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be numbers. You'll see why in a minute because we're gonna build something on the history database that's gonna require it. But for right now, that's what we need. We just need to see the season. Now, I'm gonna duplicate this property. We'll change this. We'll use that TV icon. We'll call this episode. And then we're gonna edit it to change this to show episode and leave it at show original. We'll fix the number in just a second. We can hide this, don't need to see it. And now every single cast member that we create will automatically have the season and episode on them. You theoretically could hide these properties as well if you don't wanna see them on here. It's totally up to you. I'm just gonna leave them now so we can see them. And then the next thing we wanna do is get those values to copy down when we make our ranking changes, just like everything else. So let's add those properties. We're gonna add a number, and we'll call this, again, we're gonna do this, and this may be the last time, season, same sun icon, duplicate that again, episode and TV, drag those in, move them over, and then we just need to update our automation up here to copy those values just like before, just like all the rest. We'll say season, this page dot season, and there's the problem. This is exactly why I said a minute ago, we have to set it up with some sort of a calculation. Even though it's not doing any calculating, we need to set it up with a calculation to make Notion think it's a number. So let's close out of this. We're gonna discard what we just created and we'll come fix what I was talking about a minute ago. We're gonna edit this, choose calculate, and we could choose whatever from this list. Any of these theoretically should work, but sum is just at the top. So we're gonna choose sum. We have to do the same thing here. You'll notice that the values don't change at all. That's because we only have one thing there. It has nothing to sum but that one value. So that will basically trick Notion into making this a number instead of text. And then when we edit our automation, you'll see we can edit this again, choose season, and then choose trigger page dot season, and you'll see that it takes this time, which is exactly what we want. Trigger page dot episode. I will say, I didn't even realize that was going to be an issue until I tried to build this the first time, and then that's what happened. That was my way of getting around it. So I didn't have some fancy knowledge about that. That's just, I corrected the problem when I ran into it the first time. So now let's give this a shot. We're going to enter a note, and then we're going to demote her because I can't stand her. We'll wait for the note to disappear, which is exactly what happened. And we'll know that that means that the rest is copied. She is so annoying. Date and time, season and episode, and maybe we bring these over so season and episode are next to it. All of that copies through, and we are happy. Now, one last thing that I want to add, and this is, I think, the last feature for this series. It would be very handy to be able to sort our log by episode. I think that's better than by date. The challenge is, if you tried to sort by season and then episode, it might not come in the correct order that we're looking for. We need it to be one value that will sort alphabetically correctly. That's going to require a formula to set that up. It's not that crazy of a formula, but it is a little bit more of an advanced thing. So let's dive into that now. Ultimately, I'm going to borrow this text field. And what we want, if it's season 3, episode 4, to get this to sort alphabetically using a text string, all we would need it to say to get that to work is we would need to add a 0 in front of any number that was less than 10. So if it's a single digit, add a 0. And then everything else can be like it is. So we could have the season and episode represented like this, and that would then sort alphabetically correctly when we put a sort on that field. I like it to be formatted a little better. So I like S03 space E04. I think that looks clean. It's easy to read. That will allow us to hide these, and then we could sort by that field. Now, we're not going to do it in the notes field. I just wanted to show you so that way when we create this, you get a sense of where we're headed with this. Okay, we're going to add a formula property. I'm going to drag this over, and we're going to edit this. There are a few ways you could accomplish this. I just did it this way because this is the first way that occurred to me. So I'm not saying that my way is the best or the only. What we want to do is put a few pieces together. So we're going to use one of the primary functions is the concatenate function. So let's start building this little piece by little piece. So we're going to start with the first piece, which is the S. Okay, we want that S, and then we want the E, so we can get that. Now, we need the numbers. So we're going to insert those numbers. So let's insert the season and say season, and then do episode. Now, that works, except, so let's save this just so we have a base to start. Notice all the rest of these have nothing because they don't have any other values. I'll give some fake values here. So we'll say 2, 5, 1, 6, just so that there's some values here so we can work off of those. The next thing we need to do is we need to add the zeros in. Actually, you know what? Let's say 14, so that way we have one that is greater than 9, so 10 or higher, and then these two, because we need to account for both of those situations. I'm gonna do this, again, as I said, there are a couple different ways you could do this, but I'm gonna do this using a couple variables because it makes this a little bit easier to read. So we're gonna wrap this whole thing, we're gonna tab it over first, and then come up to a new line, and we're gonna wrap this in lets. And we put an open paren, and then on a new line, we put a closed paren. Lets is the Notion function for creating variables. It's just something that we can store information in. So let's just create a basic one. I recorded these a couple times, I mentioned, because I had some technical issues the first time. And I learned that to help differentiate our variables from what's already here, we're gonna start our variable with the letter V. Could call it whatever you want. Could call it elephant. It doesn't matter. You're just giving the variable a name, but we're going to call this V season, right? So that way we know this is our variable. And then you need to set it to something. So let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to start, and then put a comma. That's our first variable. And now we could drop that anywhere. So if I come here and hit plus and say V season, you'll notice that it sets a variable here, and you'll see that the final result is the first part, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could put text there. And let's add a space in front of it so that it's easier to spot. And I can add that and set those variables. So we need another variable. We'll do one for episode, okay? And we can just streamline this so it's just ABC to start. So let's get rid of this. And we can replace this season and this episode with whatever our variables are gonna be. So let's take this out and put the variable result there and do the same thing. Oops, I'm noticing I have an issue here. I forgot my second comma, and that's why it's yelling at me and not giving me any of my stuff. And then we'll say V episode. So now I have the S and then whatever is in V season and V episode. Great. So what do we have to do? Well, I said it a couple times before. If the value of season is 9 or less, we want to put a 0 in front. Otherwise, we just want to return the value. Same thing for episode. So if episode is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, stick a 0 in front. If it is 10 or greater, just return the value. So in this case, it would just return 14. So we have to tell it to do that. So let's replace this ABC bit for season, and we just say if. And we're going to leave this all on one line because I think it's simpler to read. So open, close, paren. And remember, from the last video, an if statement, a conditional, takes 3 pieces. A condition, something to test, a value if true, a value if false. So we'll just put something there to start, just so I can represent this easily. We'll say if season, well, we can actually give it the full thing. We can say if season is less than 10, okay? So it's 0 through 9. We have to do something if true, and then we have to do something if false, okay? And you'll notice that it still works. I'm getting a true stuck in the middle of that because season is less than 10. Well, let's replace true and false. So the value if true is we want to return 0 and 3 as a chunk. So this is where we have to do something a little silly because I would say, theoretically, we should just be able to say 0 plus season. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't do anything. It looks like it's doing nothing. Watch what happens. If I put in another number there, Notion is treating this bit like math. And that's what I said before. We have to kind of get around that because we need it to think that this is just text. It's another one of these quirky Notion things. So we have to wrap it in the function format. So now I'm getting 33 or whatever text I put in there, like that. And I'm still getting the last value of 3. So what we actually need there is 0. Now I have season 03. Now you'll notice that the spacing is a little funky here, so I'm going to correct for that. Let's just fix this spacing so it doesn't get confusing here. I want to insert another space. You could add it right here. I could add the space in front of the episode. That's fine. Or you could just add another concatenation and do an empty space. I like that because I find it easier to know what's going on and to see where things are. So we'll leave it like that. So now I have the S, I have the variable here, which is not quite done. We have to do this last little false bit, and then the space E and the episode variable. So let's fill in the false, which is very straightforward. If the value is 10 or higher, we just need that value. So all we have to do is return season. All right, let's build that again. And let's use episode in this case. And I'm going to do it again just to walk through it one more time. So I'm going to do if, open, close, parenthesis, come back. And then I like to enter typically my commas, so I have those ready for me. And we're going to do the same thing. If episode is less than 10, what do we need? We can return the false part. If it's 10 or greater, we know all we have to return is episode. Okay, it's yelling at me because I don't have the piece in here. So I guess it's going to make me do the true first. You know what? No. I'm doing it in the order I want. We're going to do the false first, damn it. So all I want is to return episode. Okay, so you'll notice that it's actually working correctly, right? That's correct. We don't have the middle part ready yet. So we can do exactly the same thing. And just for simplicity, I'm going to just copy that, paste it, and put episode there. And that's our formula. So now if I hit save, I have season 03, episode 14, season 02, episode 05. But if I change this to 9, 09, it's inserting the 0. Now what happens is when everything comes through and everything has an appropriate season and episode value, you can sort by this property and they will appear in episode order, which is pretty cool. So one thing I realized, I didn't actually give this a name, so we'll just call this S/E, and then I have no idea what icon I want to use, so let me think about it. Okay, so I had an idea because I do this a lot when I'm trying to figure out what icon to use. I just Googled whatever I want to find an icon for, space icon. So I Googled episode icon, and it gave me an idea to use a stack. So I'm just going to do that because I know Notion has one like that. And that's the icon we'll use for season episode. So now this is here and we don't have to create anything else because what we can do now that everything is there, all these old records that don't have seasons and episodes on them, I could back them out of here. And now every single time we make a change, that will carry through and I have those available. So I probably don't even need to see these anymore. I can hide them. I can sort ascending or descending, whatever your preference is. I tend to prefer the current episodes to be at the top, but whatever your preference is, you can do. And then this is the only thing you have to remember is whenever the episode changes, you just have to come up here, bump up the episode. And if it's a full season change and you need to bump this up, I didn't decide to create a reset button for this because I felt that it just wasn't necessary because it's really easy to come in and just overwrite that with the number 1. But you could add a simple button that just sets it back to 1. You know what? Let's just do a little bonus. Let's do this. Let's add a button. I didn't even think about this till just now. We're going to add a button and we'll say new season. See about another sun. Ooh, look at that. New season. We're going to edit the automation. We'll do two things. I'm coming up with this on the fly. It's getting crazy. We're going to edit season, give it a custom formula. This page, season +1. Not that, but +1. And then episode, we'll just set it to 1. So now when we hit new season, we can put that there and it will go boop and give us 4 and 1, which is great. So that's an easy, quick little thing that I just thought of on the fly. And we added that here. I actually don't like this the numbers just feel so way out there. So I'm gonna make these narrow. I think that just looks a little better. It will also work better on mobile. So now we have those back to back. Maybe I'll extend this out just a little so that way this is kind of separated. And now we have a very simple way to edit these. And in theory, I guess I could say at this point, this up arrow probably isn't even necessary with this button, but I'll leave it there, it's there. And you'll notice all of these change. That's another thing I can do. I can hide these here, and every single cast member will now have a note, a rank. Oh, we can hide rank history. I didn't actually do that. We'll have a note, a rank, the season and the episode, and their status all available in our history. So we'll have all that information and we can sort and filter. And I will say, I actually did build some other crazy things. I'm not gonna go into them just now, but maybe for a future video, I actually have the data linked over to a Google Sheet, and then you can graph that data over time. You can actually do that here, but it's kind of clunky, and that's why I don't have it set up, but you can set up a chart. You would just have to filter based on the cast member's name, which you have to type manually, and then you'd be able to see a chart of the rankings over time. You know what, I changed my mind. Let's add it really fast. It's not a big deal. We're gonna add a new view. We're gonna add a chart. I need to have some other cast members' rankings, so let's just get those. I think I just did more of Lisa, which I don't need. It's topsy-turvy because the rankings are all out of order. I would have Whitney first, Heather next, Lisa after that, and Brooks, they're all annoying. So I just need to have some rankings, and I need to have a couple for each of them, but we're gonna go off of Lisa. All right, so now we'll create the chart, and we'll move this over, and then we wanna edit. Now again, as I've said before, you wanna have a visual in your mind of what you're actually after. What we want is the episodes along the bottom, along the x-axis, and then the ranking along the y. In this case, unfortunately, because there's some stuff that I tried a bunch of stuff to get them all to plot on the same thing. I don't think it will work. Let me edit this data a little more and we'll see. Hold on one second, I will be right back. I wanna edit this data just a little more. Okay, I'm back, and I added another record for Heather that lines up with Lisa. I have a feeling that it won't show multiple people on the same chart unless you have the same episodes for all of them. That would mean you would have to make sure that every cast member has a change every time. It's a pain in the butt, which is why I wasn't gonna include this. But if you had a filter where you only look at Lisa, for instance, then you can do it. It's kind of clunky to work with. You'll see why in a second. So again, just to reiterate, episodes along the x-axis, rank along the y, and then we're gonna filter to just see Lisa. So let's edit the view. Along the x, again, we'll do SE, that's the one we need. Great. We'll change this to a line chart because I think that's better. And then what we need along the y, again, is the rank, and we should be able to say values, that's fine. And then this is sort of what we want, but we only want to see one person. So we need to filter by cast member, and this is why I didn't include it, because you have to type the name in manually, which is annoying and I don't love it, but still kind of fun. So we'll enter Lisa, and now I can see Lisa's rank over time, which is definitely nerdy and delightful. So I do think that's fun, and I think you can use that and you'll be able to kind of do it on the fly. My cat is deciding, here, I'll let her say hi. Wait, that's Ruby. You say hi? Say hi? You say hi? Say hi. Come on. Say hi. She's so chatty, but now she's not gonna do it because I want her to. 4 in the morning, she's screaming, but right now, when I really want her to, there it is. Do it. All right, go on. She wouldn't do it. Anyway, so now you have this chart and you can see your rankings and make it really nerdy. What I set up is an automation that pulls the data into Google Sheets where you can have the chart and have it ignore all the empty values, and so it will still graph everything. Notion doesn't have that as an option, but I still think this is pretty fun. Alrighty, that's everything I have for Reality Ranker. I know that this is so nerdy and so niche, but I hope that some folks out there, I hope that you're watching and just love the ridiculous nature of this particular project. I love creating it. I love using it. My coworker and I cackle at work about it. So it's a good time, and I hope that you had a good time with it. If you found anything in this video useful or ridiculous, I would greatly appreciate a like on the video. That tells the YouTube algorithm that folks like what I'm creating, and it tells me what you all like that I'm creating. Any thoughts, comments, questions, anything else you'd like me to build or help you with, drop those in the comments below. Always love to help and would be happy to answer whatever you've got. I hope you had so much fun. I know I did, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.